Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to crochet this beanie here. It's crocheted using this Halloween design. So the pattern is available. Check the description box for links. Okay, so for materials, you're going to need two different colors. I'm using orange and white. This is the Buttercream Alpaca blend. This is from Joann stores. Everything will be linked in the description box below, as well as timestamps if you need to jump around in the video. For the hooks, I'm using two different sizes. We're using a smaller size for the brim, which is the 8mm, and for the larger size, I'm using a 10mm. Tape measure, scissors, and a tapestry needle. All right, let's get started. So starting with the smaller hook size and your main color, the orange is going to be my main color and this will be my contrasting. Okay, so we're going to start with the main color, and for me that's this orange. So this is the pumpkin color, and I'm starting with the smaller hook size, 8mm. So starting with a slip knot, you want to chain as many chain stitches as you want the height of your brim. So I like this height here. I'm going to add one more stitch for the turning chain. I have 6 stitches. We're going to work slip stitches back in this direction. So into the second chain from the hook, this is the first, that's the second. I'm going to work into this back loop here. Okay, you see this V. I'm just going to work into this back loop here, inserting my hook, yarning over, and pulling up a loop. Now you want to pull that same loop through the loop that's on your hook. So that's one slip stitch. Into the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through the loop on your hook. So we're going to be working slip stitch ribbing, and it is important to make sure that your tension is loose. If you have trouble keeping a loose tension, increase the hook size. Into the next stitch, pull through and through. And you can do that all in one motion. Last stitch. Okay, next row, chain 1 and turn. Pay attention to where your stitches are. So this one here is your chain 1. You want to work into this one here. And again, we're going through the back loop. So here's the front loop. Here's the front loop here. And then this is the back loop. Again, this is your chain stitch, which doesn't count. So we're going into the back loop of the next stitch. Pull through and through. Next stitch, back loops. Okay, so you're going to continue this all the way across. Now you just repeat until you have the desired circumference. Chain 1 and turn. Okay, this is the chain 1. It doesn't count as a stitch. Into this next one. Back loops, work your slip stitch. So you want to continue until you have the circumference that you need. You want to end on the same side as your beginning tail. Chain 1 and turn, and repeat. Make sure you count your stitches if you are new to crocheting. So I have 5 stitches for every row. I want to make sure that I have 5 stitches at the end of every row. Okay, so I am ready to assemble my brim. I have 43 rows. For my gauge, that's going to be about 19 inches. So it really depends on your gauge. With the first row closest to you, bring this up. So you're going to work slip stitches across through here and then through the back loops of this side. Next stitch, back loops of the next stitch. Make sure you go through the back loops on this side here. That's the last row that you worked. This is your beginning foundation. So I should have 5 slip stitches. Okay, turn it around and you have this nice invisible seam here. Okay, switch on over to the larger hook size. We're going to work around the brim. We're going to work single crochets to set up for our beanie. So this stitch pattern is in multiples of 6, so I want to make sure that I have multiples of 6 going around the beanie. So you want to work 3 single crochets for every 4 rows, and you need to have stitches that are in multiples of 6. So to accommodate for the multiples of 6, you'll need to increase in order to get to the number that is divisible by 6. That means that if you have to add 3, just add 3 in different sections. Just try to spread them out evenly. And the best way to do that is not to skip that 4th stitch. So I have 43 rows, and working the 3 stitches for every 4 rows, I end up with approximately 32 to 33, is 32 point something. Let's say 33 stitches. I need to increase 3 stitches in order to have 36, which is then in multiples of 6. So basically you just want to end with a number that is in multiples of 6. So chain 1 and then right into the same row right here, work 1 single crochet. I always forget to place a marker on my first stitch. So you can do that so that you can find your first stitch to work into. And then right here into this row, find the very top stitch. So right through there, insert your hook and work 1 single crochet. Make sure you work your single crochets loosely, especially the loop that you pull up. So when I pull it up, I sort of tilt my hook like this so that it pulls it up higher. And that's because we're going to work into that post in the next round. So down here, I'm going to work 1 single crochet. Again, when you pull this up, make sure that this loop here is loose. So because I need to increase 3 stitches, so instead of working into this 4th row here, I'm going to work 1 stitch in it. That's going to be my first increase. Okay, so now 1, and then through here. 2 and 3. Skip the 4th into the next. 1, 2, and then through here. Okay, so that's my 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip this one to the next. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around. I'm going to work my next increase here. So there's 1, 2, 3. Instead of skipping this fourth one, I'm just going to work into that fourth one. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, this is the last stitch. I double check to make sure that I have stitches in multiples of 6. I'm going to work a slip stitch into the very first stitch. Work a slip stitch. For the first round, it's all just the main color. So we're going to start now working into the post of the single crochets. So here is the first single crochet. This is the post. It's a little bit to the right of it. Okay, so that's the sort of the V stitch right there, the post. You're going to work in between that. That's why we needed that stitch to be loose. Okay, again, you want this loose. Place your marker. Okay, I'm at the end of round 1. Round 2, we're not going to join, we're just going to work in a continuous round. And this is where I will incorporate the contrasting color. So the very first stitch is going to be a contrasting color. So you're just following the chart. So you're going to insert your hook right into the post of the very first stitch. Grab the contrasting color, pull it through, make sure that's loose, and then we're going to yarn over with the main color to complete the single crochet. Place a marker on the first stitch so you know where the beginning of the round is. You can hold the contrasting color behind and work right over it, or you can pick it up as you go. I'm just going to pick up as I go. So in the next 3 stitches, I'm going to work the main color. 1, 2, 3. Fourth stitch is going to be contrasting. So far it's just been hanging out here. Grab this, don't pull on it too tight because you don't want to tighten that strand there. Make sure that's loose. Oops. Complete with main color. And then the next is main color. and that is the repeat, contrasting, 3 main, contrasting, and then main, and then repeat again. If it's too long, just gently tug at it. This is my last stitch. Okay, you can move your marker up as you go. I'm just going to leave it there. So just follow the chart, changing color when necessary. Again, you can work over the contrasting color if you want. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so my next 3 stitches are main color. I'm going to work over the contrasting color to show you what that looks like. So just hold the contrasting color up against your work and then work your single crochets over it. And what that does is it'll catch the contrasting color in the back. So I'm going to do that for the next couple of stitches, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, last stitch. Okay, so I've caught the contrasting over the 3 stitches. So for this next round, I'm going to have to pick up my contrasting color because it'll drag too far across the back. So it's the same concept. Hold your contrasting color against your work and then work your single crochet over it. And then you can move it out of the way to work the next few stitches. I recommend doing that instead of holding your contrasting color the whole time, because the problem with that is that it makes your fabric even more thick. This stitch is naturally dense and thick, so crocheting over your contrasting color is going to add to that thickness. Okay, I'm going to follow the chart and change colors when I need to. So this round is going to be all main color. So what I'm going to do is leave the contrasting color here, work all the way around, and then I'll pick this back up for the next round. Okay, so now I'm just going to start picking this up again. And just follow the chart for the colors. Okay, so I'm ready to close this up. I'm not going to be using my contrasting color anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm going to work 3 stitches and then decrease. So into the post, we're still working the same stitch. So I'm going to decrease these 2 stitches, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 3. Repeat that all the way around, 3 single crochets, and then a decrease. If you have stitches left over, Just work single crochets into the post. Okay, now you're going to work 2 and then decrease, 2 and then decrease. If you want a more gradual decrease, because this one isn't, go ahead and work 1 round in between the decrease rounds without decreasing. So you'll just work 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Just keep in mind that this will lengthen the decrease rounds if you do choose to do that. So this was our last decrease. In order to work in that, go to the far right and then use that post like that. Okay, round 3 decrease, you're going to work 1 and then decrease, 1 and then decrease. Again, you can choose to work 1 round without decreases in between each of the decrease rounds to make the decrease a little bit more gradual. Okay, for the last round of decrease, you're going to work normal single crochets, so you're not going through the post. And in the video you see me working through the back loops, causing this ring here, which I didn't care for, so I'm leaving that out of the pattern. Now you're going to cut a long tail, pull it through the loop, grab your tapestry needle, and just run it through the stitches up here. Just weave them back and forth. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, you can work 1 round of single crochets in between the decrease rounds so that there is a more gradual decrease. Because as you can see, this is quite an extreme decrease, and it's a slouch, so I don't really mind. The good thing is you have different options. You can customize it as you like. So as I mentioned, it is a thicker fabric. If you use, say, worsted weight, and you can use worsted weight following this pattern, then it will be a little bit lighter than this. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so that you'll be notified every time I post a video. I'll see you next time.